Concussions are the epidemic sweeping the nation's high school sports. It is estimated that 2.7 million sports-related concussions occur every year. For people ages 15 to 24, sports are the second largest cause of traumatic brain injury, behind only motor vehicle crashes. What is a concussion? What is life like after a concussion? What can change?
So in the brain, you've got the skull, which is hard, and you've got the brain, which is sort of like jello, so pretty soft. In between, you've got a layer of fluid and membranes to cushion. So when you normally tip your head back and forth, your brain sort of gets cushioned by the liquid and the membranes. But in a concussion, your hard skull and your soft brain are moving really fast in one direction, and at some point, that hard skull stops when it hits the ground or hits the wall, but your brain keeps going, and it goes so fast that it goes right through the liquids, squishes the membranes, and it hits the skull. So when that happens, that's a concussion. It's like a bruise on the brain.
Did you know a concussion is a mild form of traumatic brain injury? When your soft brain, located inside your hard skull, is moving too fast, like when you receive a blow to the head, it hits your skull. This bruises the brain. One thing that sets a concussion apart from other injuries is that you can't see it. A sprained ankle swells and bruises, but a person can have a concussion and look perfectly fine.
So postconcussive syndrome, I would describe that as a series of continuing symptoms that occur long after a concussion has quote-unquote resolved. Typical symptoms from concussion can resolve, and many do, within the first week, but postconcussive syndromes last for a period of weeks up to several months in some cases.
I've had about 7 concussions, and somewhere around there, hopefully.
I've had 4 concussions. I got 3 of my concussions from soccer. My latest concussion, I'd gotten kicked right in the eye. And 1 from a hot tub cover falling on my head when it was propped up against my house. It was in the winter. It was like full of ice, and it just...
The 6th one, I think it was while I was at gymnastics one day and working really hard, and I hit my head on the side of the beam, so I ended up getting this dent in the left side of my skull. And then I returned to school and ended up hitting heads with somebody, and ended up having to go to the emergency room because I couldn't open my eyes and I couldn't really walk.
I had symptoms for about 2 or 3 months after my latest concussion.
I would say I've had them for, they're more noticeable towards the more recent ones, but pretty much for the past couple of years they just kind of keep on coming.
My symptoms were headaches, dizziness, not being able to concentrate, having trouble reading.
Headaches, insomnia, anger, depression, shaky. I can even tell if my head is shaking or my hands are shaking by what I'm holding. I kind of trip over myself, I get confused. I can't really move too fast without getting dizzy, and sound and light just really affects me.
I had to change my sleeping patterns. I went to bed a lot earlier. I had to change my patterns of how I do my homework. I couldn't really read that much of my history textbook or my English book, so I had to somehow find a way around that and make it work.
I pretty much had to change everything, and I spent a lot of extra time doing homework. I end up sitting there till maybe 6:30 at night still doing my homework, and then continuing after I eat dinner to maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night, sometimes 12. So it really never ends, and then it just repeats the next day.
When I wasn't cleared, I missed just participating in activities like soccer. Now, after my 4 concussions, I'm no longer allowed to play contact sports, which includes soccer.
I would say exercising, because exercising allows you to be happy and releases endorphins, and you don't have to worry as much about what you're eating, or it's just easier to like let loose when you're exercising, and not being able to do that, it's hard to let myself relax.
It's been like about a year since my last concussion, and I think the long-lasting symptom would just be like short-term memory loss. I think that sometimes the short-term memory loss is annoying because like someone will tell me something and I won't remember, or I'll try to tell myself to do something and I will forget, whereas before I was like on top of things like that.
I would say that a piece of advice would be to not convince yourself that you're okay, and to actually tell somebody when you're hurt, or to let yourself rest and take a break and step back. I guess I wasn't really thinking as much about the future. College is going to be a struggle. Continuing in school is definitely going to be a lot of work, so I would say that you have to give yourself time to recover.
So the best way to prevent concussions is to follow the rules, to use proper technique, and to wear the right kind of protective equipment when needed, and just to be very mindful and aware of how you're out there playing the game and not being overly reckless.